Imagine a book so small that it can be read in a single sitting, yet so powerful that governments across the world felt threatened by it. A story with talking animals, written in simple language, banned not for what it says openly, but for what it means. George Orwell's Animal Farm is often introduced as a children's fable, but in reality, it is one of the sharpest political critiques ever written. Over the decades, this book has been banned, restricted, or removed from classrooms in multiple countries. But why would a story about pigs, horses, and sheep be considered dangerous? To understand that, we need to look beyond the animals and uncover the ideas George Orwell was really exposing. Animal Farm, published in 1945, is an allegory. An allegory is a story in which characters and events represent deeper ideas, often political or moral. In this novel, the animals on a farm overthrow their human owner in the hope of creating a fair and equal society. At first, everything seems ideal. The animals promise equality, freedom, and justice. However, as time passes, the pigs, who became the leaders, slowly take control, manipulate language, and turn the farm into a dictatorship that is even worse than a human rule they replaced. This simple story is the key reason Animal Farm became controversial. Orwell was not just telling a farm story, he was criticizing real political systems, especially totalitarianism. Totalitarianism is a form of government where the state has complete control over society, including people's thoughts, speech, and actions. Orwell used the pigs, particularly Napoleon, to represent leaders who abuse power while pretending to work for the people. One major reason Animal Farm was banned is its strong criticism of the Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin. The events of the novel closely mirror the Russian Revolution of 1917 and what followed. For example, Old Major represents Karl Marx, whose ideas inspired the revolution. Napoleon represents Stalin, while Snowball represents Leon Trotsky, a revolutionary leader who was later exiled. Because of these clear parallels, many communist governments viewed the book as an attack on their ideology. In the Soviet Union itself, Animal Farm was banned for decades. The reason was simple. The novel exposed how a revolution that promised equality could turn into oppression. Orwell showed how leaders use propaganda, which means spreading information often false or misleading, to control people's beliefs. In the book, the pig squealer constantly changes facts and statistics to make the animals believe they are living better lives, even when they are starving. This portrayal was uncomfortable for governments that relied on propaganda to maintain control. Another reason for the ban was the book's emphasis on manipulation of language. One of the most famous lines in the novel is, "All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others." This line highlights how those in power twist language to justify inequality. In many authoritarian regimes, language is used as a political tool. Orwell's clear demonstration of this made Animal Farm a threat, especially in societies where questioning authority was discouraged. Interestingly, Animal Farm was also banned or challenged in some capitalist and democratic countries, though for different reasons. During World War II, Britain was allied with the Soviet Union. At that time, publishers were hesitant to release a book that critiqued an ally. In fact, Orwell initially struggled to get Animal Farm published in the UK because it could damage political relations. This shows that censorship does not only exist in dictatorship, it can also appear when political convenience is involved. In the United States, Animal Farm has been challenged in schools and libraries at various times. Some critics argued that the book promotes anti-government sentiment, meaning it encourages people to distrust authority. Others felt the political themes were too complex or inappropriate for younger readers. There were also concerns that the novel could influence students' political thinking. Because of this, the book was occasionally removed from reading lists, even though it is now considered a classic. Another reason Animal Farm faced bans is its portrayal of rebellion. The animals' uprising against Mr. Jones represents revolution. Some governments feared that this could inspire readers to question or challenge their own leaders. Even though the novel ultimately shows the failure of the revolution, the very idea of resisting authority was seen as dangerous in tightly controlled societies. The book also criticizes the blind obedience of the masses. Characters like the sheep, who mindlessly repeat slogans, symbolize people who accept ideas without questioning them. Boxer, the hard-working horse, represents loyal citizens who trust the government completely, even when it exploits them. His tragic fate shows how such loyalty is often rewarded with betrayal. This message was uncomfortable for any system that depended on unquestioning citizens. What makes Animal Farm especially powerful and controversial is its simplicity. Orwell deliberately used clear language so that ordinary people could understand complex political ideas. This accessibility made the book more dangerous than dense political theory. It could reach students, workers, and common readers, spreading awareness about how power can corrupt ideals. Over time, many of the bans on Animal Farm were lifted. Today, the novel is taught in schools and universities around the world. However, its history of censorship reminds us that books are often banned not because they are false, but because they reveal uncomfortable truths. So, Animal Farm was banned because it dared to ask a dangerous question. What happens when those who promise equality begin to love power more than justice? Orwell's story exposes propaganda, manipulation, and the slow erosion of freedom, ideas that remain relevant even today. That is why this book continues to unsettle governments and challenge readers across generations.